will do my best to do my best Lori Hind impersonation here. But if you know her, she's very loud and energetic. I am quiet and shy. So we'll see how I do. Also, you have to know that I am going to be reading the speech as Lori. So when I say things like my husband Jeff, I don't have a husband named Jeff. That's Lori. Okay. Hello, home district. I'm sorry I'm unable to be there with you in person this evening at the District 47B, but I am right now representing you in all of North Dakota at the RNC 2024 Winter Meeting in Nevada. Being a North Dakota National Committee woman has been an honor and a voluntary labor of love the past nearly 4 years. I love my state, I love my country, I aim to preserve them both, and that has never changed. My heart is in servant leadership. I'm Lori Hind. I'm a pot-stirring, freedom-loving, America First girl. Let me explain the pot stirring. My husband Jeff Hind teases me with a gesture when he sees me talking with patriots from around the state and around the country. It looks like this. We laugh about it. My husband calls it pot stirring. I call it advancing freedom. At first, even Jeff didn't really know what RNC members are, and he's been involved with me in politics for several decades. Do not feel bad if you don't know. Here's the quick explanation. RNC, Republican National Committee members, are called 168. Here's the math, 3 times 56. You get 3 members from each of 50 states and 6 U.S. territories to represent you on the RNC. A national committeeman, a national committee woman, and a state party chair, either a man or a woman, male or female, because those are the only 2 choices, and believe me, I know what a woman is. I have a quick 168 story. There was a unanimous rubber stamp vote that was expected on a standing yay or nay vote of the RNC at a general session meeting one time a couple years ago. I was the only member of the 168 that day to vote no. I stood up alone. I stood up for what I believe was right. Now, whether I am reelected or not, this call is to you today, a call to action. Do not sit down, do not shut up. Raise your hand, raise your voice, not in an unkind way, but be noticed and heard. Be bold. You can stay seated and be the status quo, or you can get up and be a pot stirrer. Courage is contagious. This position with the 168 is the people's only voice within the National Republican Party. It is not my position, it's yours. I serve and represent you. If you want your conservative beliefs heard, if you want the America First movement advanced, then I'm your girl. I'm Lori Hind. I ask for your vote at the ND GOP State Convention the first weekend in April. A vote for me is a vote for freedom. Thank you.
Brenda Gettle, representing her husband, Shane Gettle, from the National Committee. Welcome, Brenda.
Thank you, appreciate that. You already heard a little bit about the RNC, so I won't talk too much about that. Instead, I'll talk about my husband, Shane. For those of you who don't know Shane, I'll give you some background. He grew up on a sheep and cattle ranch in northwestern North Dakota, so he's got an agricultural background and that runs deep in him. After high school, he went to ASU and pursued a degree in agricultural economics at ASU, then on to law school at Hamline University to get a law degree with a concentration in agricultural education. Again, that ag is super important to him. He worked in Minot as a lawyer for 7 years. And then he went on to Washington, D.C. He went to work for a fellow North Dakotan, Jonathan Korsmo, and spent some time there. He was counsel to the chairman of the Federal Housing Finance Board. He did some time at USDA. And then he came back here to North Dakota to do some work for John Holdren and a couple different things in government for a number of years. In 2012, he moved into the private sector. So he's been doing that ever since 2012. He's been signing checks. He's owned a business. He knows what it's like to have to look at that bottom line and realize what it's like to worry whether or not you can pay those employees every month and have people depend on you. And so that is his background. Shane has, through all of that wide range of experience and the values that are so important to him, which include faith and and also freedom. Those things are very important to Shane, and so that underscores every decision that he makes. And I know that he makes these decisions very thoughtfully. He looks at things from all angles. He doesn't ever jump to conclusions, but he always thinks thoroughly about things, which is a great quality to have in the Republican National Committee for our state. Being his wife, it sometimes kind of stinks because I never made an argument. Usually I don't even try. We don't argue anyway. But I recognize that, he's very logical and thought out. Something he started for fun is just this month was teaching a class out at the University of Mary. He's an adjunct professor, teaching a class on constitutional law, a little bit of constitutional law, mostly First Amendment and communication law and ethics and the things that go along with that. So important. Constitution is really important to him. Again, very important for those qualities of the Republican National Commitment. On the RNC, you can see what he's worked on the majority of the time that he's been there, and that was these resolutions that I handed to you. He has voted for all of these, some of them at least twice. Some of them he was a co-sponsor on, some of them, most of them, he wordsmithed a little bit to make the wording on them more understandable and more reasonable. About a year ago, he left the Resolutions Committee and he went to the Budget Committee. He was elected to that. So now he's one of only 11 people in the country deciding how the money is raised, the RNC raises. So how we can use that most effectively to elect the most candidates, because really that's what we need, right? We need more Republicans throughout each state and on a national level as well. And he's very committed to making that happen. If you have questions about any of these resolutions or where Shane stands on anything or how he's voted when he's been at the RNC, please give him a call. Send him an email. His contact information is at the bottom of this page. He'd be more than happy to help you or to visit with you and to have a conversation about all these issues. So if you plan to be a delegate at the convention in April, he would very much appreciate your vote. Thanks.
Insurance Commissioner John Godfrey and in the whole Public Service Commissioner Rand Christman. Well, thanks, Carl, and thanks everybody for being here tonight. Thanks for your active participation in the party. It's really, really important. Carl mentioned I'm John Godfrey. I'm your current Insurance Commissioner, seeking your support for our third term. A little bit about me. Born and raised here in North Dakota. I went away to our undergrad at Northern Iowa, played basketball there, believe it or not. And then went to UND to get my law degree in the MBA. After that, I worked 6 years at the State Chamber of Commerce, and from that point on, I was lucky enough to be elected the Insurance Commissioner of the State of North Dakota. Been doing that for the last 7 years. It is a fascinating job. It is a fascinating time to be in insurance. There's a lot of things going on with the advent of technology, with artificial intelligence, the blockchain, a whole bunch of new stuff coming forward. The insurance market's in a tough place right now. It's a hard market with all this. We're seeing rates change, we're seeing rates go up generally. It's not something that we're very excited about. But I also get to serve as the president-elect of our National Association of Insurance. Where that's really important for the state of North Dakota is an opportunity for me to bring North Dakota's voice to the national discussions. Where that's really, really critically important right now is a lot of discussions around ESG. We're seeing that implemented into the insurance industry through global reinsurers and a lot of different areas where they're using these non-financial factors that affect your insurance rates. It's home here in North Dakota, especially because energy and ag are two things we do really, really well. Those are two things that a lot of people across the country don't really like. And so we've been doing a lot of fighting on that front. I actually have to present in Switzerland to a number of other insurance regulators across the world, insurance companies, and again, make the case for North Dakota. We are going to throw ourselves into an energy crisis by cutting off the legs of our energy industry and causing a crisis. We're trading one potential crisis for another that the insurance industry is absolutely not ready for. And we're being put in this position because they can't get it done in Congress, they can't get it done in state legislature, so they're working through the boards of the insurance companies to implement this piece. And so it's really critically important right now. Probably, I'm sure every politician is more important more than ever to support this, but this is really critical work that we're doing. It's really interesting work that we get to do. And I'll tell tell you we're having an impact. Last session, thanks to our great legislative partners, we passed, North Dakota was the first state in the country to pass a law that said you can't raise your rate or tie your insurance based solely on ESG or EEI factors. I'll tell you, I got called down to the principal's office in Dallas, Texas because of that law. Our reinsurers from across the country and across the world called us in and said, John, you can't do this. This is really hard on us. And I said, well, forgive me, but these are non-financial factors. The insurance companies should rate the risk, right? That's your financial company. You rate the risk. You take all these other pieces out of it, and you really get down to what is actually there. And we made an impact. And so there's been a number of other states that are pursuing this piece of legislation. And North Dakota, while we're small, again, if we can get our friends from South Dakota, Montana, Idaho, Kansas, Nebraska to jump on board, we can actually make some movement in the space. I think we're seeing that movement happen. And so it's a fascinating time to be there. I really appreciate the support. It's an honor to get to do this. It's an honor to get to represent you, North Dakotans, not on the national stage, but the international stage. So I really appreciate your support. One thing I want to leave you with, we're a consumer protection agency, so our primary role is, again, to foster fair and competitive insurance markets. If you have an issue with your insurance company, if you have an issue with your insurance agent, the minute you pick up that phone, you call your company and say, hey, you're not paying my claim right, you're at a pretty big disadvantage. They work with this stuff every day. I don't think about my own insurance every day, but I need to be there when something happens. If you got questions, give us a call. That's what we're there for. That's what we're there to help you for. We can step in your shoes as a consumer and advocate on your behalf. Some of our best stories are, again, consumers who call us to bang their head against the wall for a number of months because the health insurance company won't cover this claim, or the life insurance company isn't helping the process through their spouse who just passed away, or long-term care insurance. So give us a chance to step in your shoes. We can take that burden off of you. You can put your life back together. We can hopefully get you a fair settlement for everything that's happened. So again, when it comes down to insurance, there are no dumb questions. Please call our office with issues. It is absolutely an honor to get to do this and get to serve you all. It's a very niche market. It's a very nerdy position to be in. That's what I absolutely love it. And so I think I got my wife convinced that insurance can be interesting too from time to time. But I'll leave it there. I know Carl said it'll be a shorter meeting, but you got Tom Beadle up next, so you'll probably need some time. Randy Griswold's up next, sorry, but I appreciate the support. I'll be looking for your endorsement of the city convention in Fargo. Thanks for all you do. Again, if you've got any issues, give our department a call.
Public Service Commissioner Randy Griswold, and on deck, Treasurer Tom Beadle.
Well, thanks, Carl. Thanks, everybody in District 47 for taking time for us. Mostly familiar faces in there, but a few that are new to me. So a little background on myself. My wife, Bethany, is a mortgage underwriter over at the Mandan Ranch at Rivera Bank. I was born and raised on a ranch just west of Hazen. And that was our living until I was elected to this job in 2012. How I got into politics, right, goes back to a decision I made when I was a senior in high school. And I enlisted in the North Dakota Army National Guard. And the military taught me a lot of important lessons, and probably among the most important lessons was the satisfaction that comes from being part of a team that serves this great state and nation. Sometime after that, I finished college, and I was very frustrated in my own district up in 33, up in coal country, because we were represented by all Democrats in the legislature. And so instead of griping about it, I decided I would do something about it. So I ran for the Senate, got elected in 1994, part of the new Republican team that came in and turned the state Senate from Democrat majority to Republican majority. A few years after that, my peers chose me to be the Assistant Majority Leader of the Senate. I held that position from 2000 until 2012. At that point, once again, I faced a decision. A lot of my constituents were talking to me about concerns that they had with unconstitutional, unreasonable, one-size-fits-all government coming out of Washington, D.C. And we knew we were going to be losing 2 of the 3 public service commissioners by the end of 2012. And there was a concern in North Dakota that if the Democrats took that agency over, they would turn it into another EPA, like we were seeing in D.C. So just like I did in '94, I decided instead of griping about it, I'd do something about it. Ran for the Public Service Commission. And I came to these district meetings and all around the state saying, if you elect me to the commission, I will make sure that the Public Service Commission is in fact serving the public. So nice little catchwords for a campaign, right? But what do I mean by serving the public? To me, it means that as utility companies, customers, we get quality and reliable service at reasonable costs. It means that measuring devices like scales and gas pumps are accurate. It means that the PSC safety programs are well run. It means that coal mine land is restored to beauty and productivity. It means that our mineral resources in North Dakota are developed in a responsible way that builds our economy and America's energy stability. So here it is, election time for you to judge us on the work that we've done. So how have we done? I will tell you that our coal mine reclamation program is often cited nationally as the best state reclamation program in the nation. One of the first things I pushed for at the commission was that we create another reclamation program, this one for wind farms, because I don't want to see us get 2 or 3 decades in the future and have hundreds of thousands of acres of abandoned wind turbines. We created that and we did it with no additional employees and no additional funding. What else have we done? Our safety programs are well run. North Dakotans can count on gas pumps and scales and such to be accurate. We are developing our energy resources responsibly, treating landowners as they're supposed to be treated in accordance with the law. And I'm proud to say that as North Dakotans, we have some of the lowest electric and natural gas rates in the nation, and we have some of the best reliability statistics in the nation. So to me, the Public Service Commission is in fact serving the public. If you'll support me, I'll make sure we continue to do that for 6 more years. The last couple things I want to say is, there are some cards, and I couldn't hand them out on the chairs because these are fold-up chairs. So they're out there on the registration tables. They look like this. Those are not for you, though. Those are for you to pick up and take home and go somewhere and put it on a bulletin board or give to your friends or relatives or neighbors and help me persuade them to vote for me. And the last thing, if you want more information on me, go to randychrisman.com. Just don't forget, there's 2 N's at the end of Chrisman. Thanks, everybody, for having us.
Next up, State Treasurer Thomas Beadle, and then on deck, Superintendent Bates. I'm going to try to talk a little slower. As my former chairman of political subcommittees, Representative Clemene will tell you, I have a habit of talking a little fast. And so I'll try not to do that right now. So for those who don't know me, as I'm trying to yell, not yell this time, my name is Thomas Beadle. I have the honor of serving as state treasurer here in North Dakota after being elected in the 2020 cycle. Prior to that, my wife Shane and I lived in Fargo, was a real estate broker, business development manager there for a number of years, working on projects all across the state of North Dakota. When I campaigned for treasurer in 2020, I talked about 2 big things. 3 things. One, making sure that we're working to improve efficiency, effectiveness, and transparency in government. 2, making sure that we're protecting taxpayer dollars and being good stewards of our resources. And 3, putting the legacy fund to work to governments. And I'm proud to say that we've gotten a lot accomplished over the last 2 years, but there's a tremendous amount of work left to do. On the efficient, effective government standpoint, we're in the midst of a robust cash management study right now, making sure that we're not leaving money unnecessarily siloed and pre-canned for a rainy day, around putting that money to work for the citizens of North Dakota, or getting it back out to the taxpayers that deserve to have that hard-earned money back. That study is ongoing right now. Lots of great recommendations for the next legislative session, trying to make sure that we're being as efficient with your dollars as possible. As the vice president of the National Association of State Treasurers, I'm working on an AI cohort right now, trying to figure out how we leverage new technologies to be much more efficient with our dollars, be much more efficient in our processes, so we don't have to waste time chasing pennies all the time or worrying about fat fingering a number and manually going through there. But the more we can make that seamless and efficient, the less resources we have to spend to process all the day-to-day government stuff. And that's something that we're going to bring back to North Dakota because we're leading on that effort. One of the other areas that we're trying to be more efficient is on unpaid property. Right now, if you go to missingmoney.com, over $130 million of North Dakota money is sitting over in the unpaid property division right now. So go on missingmoney.com. You can search all 50 states, see if you have any money that's yours that you need to be reclaiming. And so we're working to make sure that that's searchable, easily accessible all across the country as a way that we can make sure we're being efficient with your tax dollars. But on the protected taxpayer dollar front, that's something that is really important, and Commissioner Godfrey did a great job touching on that. You've all heard of ESG by now, environmental, social governance. It's a major problem that's affecting the financial institutions all across the world. These are folks that are taking policies from the Green New Deal that were ready to get passed through Congress. And instead, when Secretary Kerry was appointed climate czar, they started to put all of this stuff into the Wall Street boardrooms and said, we can't get these things done through the legislative process. Instead, let's take some of these bogus initiatives, bogus claims, and try to force corporate governances, corporate boardrooms, to try to meet all their objectives to the detriment of their shareholders. We're their shareholders. Whether it's in the legacy fund, public employees retirement system fund, the teacher fund for retirement system fund, your 401k or your retirement, we're those shareholders. And so when they try to use our money to pursue some bogus objective, that's not doing service to us. North Dakota in 2021 was the first state to push back and pass legislation against this. In 2021, we said that we prohibited social investment with any of our taxpayer dollars by saying that if you are chasing something other than maximizing return for the fund, you cannot use our dollars for that. Because we know that our fiduciary obligation is toward citizens, toward taxpayers, and it's important that any company that we're doing business with remembers that. In 2023, we expanded that, we enforced that, and we make sure that that's working all over the place. Because energy and ag are our two biggest industries. They're vital to North Dakota, and we want to make sure that we're protecting them as best as we can. The final area that we're working on is putting the legacy fund to work. We all know that the legacy fund is growing, as oil revenue has been growing across the state. It's been improving, it's been doing great. But we know we can do that. The earnings off of that fund, $486 million last May, has gone towards tax relief programs. I'm sure you've all seen Commissioner Karachis' face all over TV and radio on $500 tax credit back for your property taxes. The legacy fund contributed $225 million to go to those tax relief initiatives for this biennium. But we knew that we could do more. The principle of the legacy fund is invested all over the place. It's just like your own investments, but it's a much bigger scale. So we're in stocks, we're bonds, fixed income all over the world. We knew there was a chance to put more of that work here in North Dakota. So the legislature passed, we got some fixed income money, some equity money invested back into North Dakota. For the Bank of North Dakota, we got some loan programs out there that help facilitate the sale of Coal Creek plant to Rainbow Energy and provide some financing there to invest that capital into North Dakota. We've also done some equity investment programs in companies like Statewide, Bushel, Thread, things that are helping to revolutionize some of our technology industries that diversify our economy. Because one of the things that we struggled with in North Dakota for years is that 93% of all equity dollars, all equity investments are on the coast. It's in LA, it's in San Francisco, it's in New York, it's in Boston. And people overlook the great companies we have in North Dakota. And so we know that if we bet on ourselves, if we help fill that gap for capital investment in North Dakota, these aren't grants, these are investments. If we can help fill that gap, then we can unlock our economy and continue to grow. And so we're putting the legacy fund to use in North Dakota and making sure that those dollars stay here, not out of state consultants, out of state firms. And so we're proud of the work we've done on that. More than happy to visit with anybody who has any questions on that. There's a lot more work left to go. And I'm committed to continue to fight for our North Dakota taxpayers for the next 2 years. So again, Thomas Beadle, thomasbeadle.com, we got all sorts of information on there. Otherwise, my wife Shane and I are standing for that. So if you have any questions, by all means, reach out. Thank you very much.
Next up is the Superintendent of Public Construction, Kirsten Basler, and on deck is the Congress candidate, Tom Cannon.
Thank you, Carl. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to keep it super brief. I'm here mostly tonight to just thank you, to say thank you to all of you. I am Kirsten Basler, State Superintendent of the Department of Public Construction. For many of you know that I started my 12th year. Many of you know who I am. I started out as a teacher's aide, a teacher, assistant principal, school board member for 9 years, and then in public schools. What I really just want to say to you tonight, there are a couple things. I'll just update you. So what's been happening. How am I different than I was 4 years ago when I stood before you and shared with you two significant things that happened in my life that I'll just update you on. Number one, I lost my dad in July. And it will be the first time on the campaign trail. Many of you, he was in the parades with me, he was a Korean veteran of, thank you to our veterans in this room, he was a Korean veteran, and he was God, country, family. And so that will be different. But on the positive side of things, 4 years ago, I didn't have two granddaughters. And I have two granddaughters. I have a 3-year-old granddaughter, a soon-to-be 3-year-old granddaughter, and a 1-year-old granddaughter of my son, Dickinson, who was a firefighter and District 37 chairman of GOP. So those are the two big updates in my life that I wanted to share with you. Those two continue to motivate me to do the work that I need to do. I'm here tonight to thank you. I'm not going to be emotional. I'm here tonight to thank you because the North Dakota Constitution states clearly that the only authority that the state superintendent of public instruction has is the authority that is given to him or her through the North Dakota legislative body. And it's very, very clear. I want to thank you for being here tonight, for investing in your time, because the legislators that you send to the state capitol dictate the work of our schools. And it is very, very appreciated to work in the state capitol with Representative Clemene, Mosbacher, and Senator Dwyer. Thank you very much for working with us at the department. We have a good working relationship. Before that, when we had Kaiser, Kilzer, and Clemene, also very good advocates. District 47 has been a strong district that sends good leaders. And that's my job, is to work with our legislators to ensure that the laws that we are enacting, it's my job to implement the laws, and so we can carry that out to the schools. In 2023, the North Dakota people invested over $2 billion in the K-12 education. That's up from under $1,988 million when I first took office. So the last decade has been a reoccurring investment. That 98% of those dollars are delivered right out to our school boards to make decisions on. So the power of the superintendent is very, very limited. And so the partnership with our state legislature is very, very critical as they set expectations for our local school board members to achieve. So I want to thank you, Carl. I want to thank both of you. I want to thank everyone. And I want to thank all of you for committing to this work, or for committing to the work that you do. And for actually showing up. You all have a choice of where you are could be tonight, and you chose to be here. When you show up, support your local legislative candidates, that impacts our schools, that impacts the people that I get to work with, so we can hold our schools more accountable and our systems more accountable for the outcomes of our students. The reason I'm running again, aside from just the two very personal reasons, named Sophie and Bidney, that live in Dickinson, are the fact that there's 120,000 students in this state. 98,000 when I first took office. We now have 125,000 students in kindergarten through 12th grade. We have made some significant gains. Done some really good things. The legislature gave me the authority to create a dashboard. For the first time ever, you can log into a public dashboard and find out specifically how the school in your neighborhood is doing and how many of their students are reading, how many of their students are performing math well. And that didn't exist before. And because this legislature provided me the authority and the funding to create that dashboard, we're more transparent than we've ever been. But there's still more work to do. There's still more work that needs to be done to ensure that our families are having the opportunity to chart the very best course for their children, their grandchildren, their nieces and nephews. There is still more work to be done to support our school teachers in those classrooms, and there's still more work to be done to ensure that the accountability, the return on investment for your hard-earned taxpayer dollars are being giving you a return on investment. And that's why I'm running. So thank you to the systems, thank you to the Republican Party. This is a nonpartisan. On the ballot, you won't see an R behind my name, but I've been a lifelong Republican and family country that I was raised by my great mom and dad. And any of you that have been blessed with having a family like that, you know how important that is. So I'm just grateful for your vote. I would appreciate your vote. The young people of North Dakota, people under the citizens 18, under the age of 18, comprise only 25% of our state's population. But they comprise 100% of our future. They can't hire lobbyists. They can't vote themselves. They depend on us as adults to make those decisions. And so just a lot of credit to our legislators and our school board members. I see John Lee here in the audience too, our Bismarck school board member. So thank you for doing that work. And I would appreciate your vote to continue working with our legislators to craft and chart a good course for all of our students in North Dakota. Thank you.
Next, State Senator Tom Campbell and U.S. House candidate Tom Campbell, and on deck, Mr. Josh Kelly.
Thank you, Carl. The last time I was here, I remember I went to about midnight, and you had the speakers at the end of it. So thank you for putting this up front. I'm Tom Campbell from Grafton, North Dakota. I'm running for the lone congressional seat. That was my candidacy last Friday. I'm pretty excited about it. It's a people's house, and I consider myself a people person. So I think it's pretty appropriate. Kelly Armstrong and I, we had a breakfast before this Friday announcement, and I think it's the best. So many people have asked why I switched, and I think it's going to be a win-win for all of us instead of going through a long, ugly, expensive campaign. I will take energy and focus it toward you, the people. I come from a humble beginnings. My dad was a full-time mailman. Much Peterson Baser's dad was. We shared that in common. Went to Medora conventions way back. Part-time farmer and a World War II B-17 pilot. And he fought and he risked his life. So all of us could live the American dream, which I thank all the veterans in here and my dad. My mother had a very caring, loving, tender heart, and she taught me my faith. Being raised with her, and their love together taught me the importance of caring, giving, and respect for each other. They loved each other so much they even danced the polka in the waltz at morning and breakfast before he early 5:30 before I went to the mail route, which was kind of precious. I always thought that was kind of weird for some parents like that, but as they got older, it was kind of neat. Anyway, on every dollar bill, you see "In God We Trust." And on the first few words of the Constitution is "We the people." And I will always put God's trust in putting people over politics for you. So rest assured. When I started Grandma Campbell's potato chips, you guys got to be about maybe 45 years and older to remember that. I traveled throughout the state, which I really enjoyed, and I started peddling my potato chips one customer at a time, one store, and we had direct store delivery, so we had our own route trucks and vans. I really enjoyed that, but it was really fun. Getting to meet you, the consumer, the customer, and how important you were. We were all born and blessed. We won a lot of room when we were born in North Dakota. And there's no question about it. Our most important asset is you, our people. So, and I respect that and all that. I wanted to bring home to you some of the American dream that I have lived, that so many people didn't have an opportunity to live because of the legislation, the $34 trillion of debt. $1.2 trillion of credit card debt is what the average person has on. 62% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. So I'm going to go to Washington to try to fix that and not change it, not be a radical extremist, but try to fix it. I got a lot of great ideas with my experience in business and social effects to do that. Ag and oil industry, very important. Somebody said 50% of revenue. I'm going to focus on the drill more oil. Lauren, you like my philosophy in that. Ramp up gas production. Educate the people on the misinformation that so many people have on our energy. Just want to remind you, and most of you know this, that what we're doing to fight the carbon footprint is so irrelevant with what China, Russia and India are doing. I just remember that. And also electric cars. Maybe this winter they would work, but last winter I wouldn't want to drive an electric car from far over Grafton to Bismarck. When I was 18 years old, get down here. When I was 18 years old, I obtained right out of high school. I obtained a small loan with a big prayer of $9,000 to start a potato farm from scratch. And it was basically back then you needed 4 C's. I've been involved in banking since, but you needed 4 C's in order to get a loan. You needed cash down, cash flow, collateral, and character. So I didn't have any cash down, didn't have any cash flow, didn't have any collateral, but I had character. And that's something that I'm going to take to Washington, D.C. is the character that I have, that I learned from my dad and all your veterans have given me the chance to live the American dream. So thanks again. And that is why I'm running for Congress. I'm pro-life, pro-ag, pro-oil, and most of all, pro-people, man of the people. I love this state. It has always been my home. I'll do everything in my power, God given power, to spread the news. North Dakota is one of the best places to live for workers. I will personally visit 244 cities in my Tom's tour, my campaign. That's every city with 100 people or more. There's 244 of them. And I'm going to love it. I'm just going to go there and listen to what people have to say. No one at all will ever outwork me for my love for North Dakota. I can hardly wait to get to meet each one of you with a handshake. I'm going to make it a contact heart, and I'm really raring to go to earn your vote. God bless America, and God bless North Dakota. And thanks for coming, and thanks for your time.
Next up, and last but not least, State Auditor Josh Gallion.
Thanks everybody for coming out. I was approached by Al Jagger. He told me that first thing I tell everybody is Secretary of State's office always had clean audits. So here you go out. Had to get that public service announcement out of the way. I have been your state auditor since we first elected in 2016. It has been an honor to serve in that role. I'm also married to my beautiful and amazing wife, Becky. We have 2 daughters. Brooklyn is a freshman at the University of Mary, and Sasha is a junior at St. Mary Central High School. So very blessed. I'm also a military veteran. I served in the United States Air Force up at Mine Air Force Base. That's where I met my wife. I was dedicated to being a career military man. She gave me an ultimatum to serve the military. I made the right choice. And I tell her that every day. I made the right choice. I still miss it every day, but I made the right choice. But that's what brought me to North Dakota. And I'm so grateful to be here. I love this state. I've been here longer than anywhere else. First came out here in 1998. So as your state auditor, my goal has been to create an organization that we can all be proud of. And the auditor's office has become one that has been award-winning. Here at the local level, the Bismarck Mandan Young Professionals has recognized us as the top place to work. We've all faced workforce challenges. There have been issues all over the place in finding qualified, competent people. They have recognized us for our internship program, bringing in young people, exposing them to the world of auditing. You don't go to college for auditing, you go typically for accounting, business, finance. We need to get people exposed to these different career fields, and we have done that fantastically. We actually keep about 40% of these interns that turn into full-time employees. We've been recognized recently by the Upper Great Plains magazine for our workplace, creating an environment that people want to be a part of. So our culture, our work environment, we bring people in, we celebrate successes, we enhance the individual by bringing together different skill sets so that we can be better as a team. That to me is extremely important. We've also been recognized nationally for our work. The National Association of Government Communicators has recognized our ability to take those audit reports that the auditor's office used to do before me, which were written by auditors, seemingly for auditors, because if you didn't speak auditing, you probably couldn't understand what was in those. So we have taken those, written them in plain language, so that if we put those audit reports on any cafe in any small town in North Dakota, our audience could pick those up and read them. We wanted to make sure that our work could be understood by our audience, and we've been recognized for those efforts. It has been a huge honor for all of these things to be also added to the National State Auditors Association Executive Committee. So as we've heard from, I think, Commissioner Godfrey, I think even Treasurer Beatles had some experience with this. North Dakota, we do it better than most. And we are continually recognized at a national level by these organizations asking us to participate. So I'm happy to serve on that executive committee of National State Auditors, where we are helping shape the future of government auditing across the country. And so I look forward to continuing to serve in that capacity. I congratulate everybody here for being a delegate. I look forward to working with you in Fargo, and hopefully I can continue bringing your support to serve as the state auditor. So I want to keep my comments short. It gets to a point where you lose votes the longer you speak, so I don't want to get to that point. Thanks, everybody.
Big shout out to all statewide candidates.